Ysaÿe? Well, I think it was inevitable, considering how much of a passion project these sonatas have been for me and how much of an impact they've had on me over the last 3 years or so. Of course, these sonatas are very much a staple of the solo repertoire. There's no doubt about that. I think every violinist will come across these sonatas at some point in their musical life. However, for me, these pieces in particular, perhaps more than any other in this medium, have captivated me in such a personal way that, so much so that I felt an almost impulsive need to perform the entire sonata cycle as a single concert program. And having done that several times already, each time being very different, yet always unforgettable and cathartic an experience, I naturally felt the need to record them. Surely these sonatas pose a technical challenge, first of all, and when performing all 6, one really does take on the role of an athlete tackling a major physical feat with plenty an opportunity to show off one's chops, so to say. However, my sole focus was on the musical substance and possibilities that I saw in these pieces, and therefore it was very important for me to first of all commit to a complete musical vision, and then to fully integrate all the technical and virtuosic elements within that vision. In fact, I'd like this album to make the listener forget about technique altogether, so that the atmospheres, colors, poetry in these pieces can take center stage. I was always aware of the name Ysaÿe since I was a little kid, but ever since I started exploring each of these sonatas in depth, I was immediately fascinated and won over by what seemed to me to be a very personal quality in the music, full of emotional weight and intimacy to the point where it seems like we're all trespassing on Ysaÿe's most private thoughts. In fact, there's just something about the language, the aesthetic, even just the way the violin is made use of in these pieces that particularly resonates with me. Yes, certainly. In fact, it was there that I first thought of exploring these sonatas more in depth. In fact, my few years there at the Queen Elisabeth Music Chapel as artist in residence were hugely consequential for me, I think, as I had lots of time to myself in a calm and ideal environment to think, to experiment, and also just to be in the thick of all the action, so to say, in a vibrant institution that was co-founded by Ysaÿe himself with Queen Elisabeth of Belgium. There was just a lot of first-hand inspiration for me to draw from in Belgium, especially in getting to know these pieces. This is truly an impossible question to answer, as my answer would change constantly depending on which sonata I'm focusing on at any one time. I do have to say, though, that I have a soft spot for number 1 and number 4, as I think they both contain some of the most heartfelt and intimate moments of the entire set in my eyes. For number 1, I'd say solemn. There's a pervading sense of seriousness and weight to this sonata. For number 2, I'd say erratic, due to its drastic and abrupt mood swings throughout. For number 3, the ballade, I'd say rhapsodic. It's just incredibly out there and raw and contains such a massive range within just one movement. For number 4, I'd say noble. It contains an incredible amount of emotion, but it's always emotion that's restrained by a sense of style and grace. For number 5, I'd say rustic. It's very folky and paints a great picture of the countryside. And for number 6, finally, I'd say exuberant, as this one's all about Spanish flavor and heat and spice and uninhibited joy and seduction and panache. Well, first of all, I'd like to say how thrilled I am to be joining Alpha Classics and the Out Here music family. Very much looking forward to what this collaboration will bring. In the meanwhile, during this pandemic, I just hope to continue to uplift spirits and provide as much comfort and solace as I can through the music I play, whether on social media or in concerts I'm able to do during this time. Anyway, I'm so excited to share this album with everyone, and I hope everyone enjoys. Cheers.